Hi, Gelareh. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
You get stuck out there.
Yes, exactly. I am so happy I'm having you here again on my show. I really appreciate it. So how have you been? What you gonna play today?
I've been okay, thank you. I'm going to play one of my old songs that I played with two other musicians on my first album. It's called The Busker. But because now I have pedals, so you know it's like I can add lots more layers to my playing. So I'm gonna try and play that on my own. Hopefully
Perfect.
It's gonna work.
Okay, whenever you're ready, please. Nick, hi, how you doing? Hello? Hello. What are you doing?
Hello. Huh? Sorry.
All right.
It's,
So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm less stressed now that this is working and I can see you and I can hear you. Good now.
That's perfect. Perfect. Okay. Lovely. Fantastic. All right. Do you want to say hi to those who are watching us now and later?
Yes. Hello to everyone watching, which I believe is one other person, and hello to everyone watching later. I appreciate it. Oh God, now can you hear me? I've got my headphones in.
All right.
Yes, I can hear you.
Take this. Yeah. All right. Okay. Can you take this off?
Oh, take them off? Sure. Huh?
Yes. Because I don't know. There's something wrong with Instagram and it doesn't like get your. Okay. Better. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay,
good.
Perfect.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry about all that.
All right. So thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate that. So I'm so glad I'm having a conversation with you, Luke. And I've got lots of questions here for you. And I've studied a lot about you. So my first question. In my opinion, one of the most important parts of comedians' performance is to separate themselves, the real characters, from who they are and when they go and perform on stage and what people see. And this shows the arts and the talents of that comedian. You are also an actor, so tell me about that.
I tend to be pretty similar to what I'm in real life on stage. And as far as and I'm so sorry. Was a question about acting and separating your two personas?
Yes, you have to just completely divide, separate your real character or who you are and when you go and act on stage and what people see.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I let myself be more nervous on stage, but I don't. I try and be as close as I am to you and I talking now to when I'm on stage, because I feel like when I tell a joke, it's very similar to, just telling a bunch of friends a joke as it is to telling an audience. It's just, you're just telling more people. So you'll be telling 1,000 people instead of 2 people at a party. But I feel like the delivery is pretty similar. I try not to change it too much. The thing I struggle with is sometimes problems I have in my personal life, I'll tell them on stage as a joke, and I'm worried that if I solve them or see a psychologist and make myself better, I'll be less funny, which is not healthy, which is not a good thing.
Of course not. All right. So I know I want to take you back 2 years ago, and the first time you felt, okay, you wanted to become a comedian in the future, which is today. And tell me what's happened. Why comedy? What did you know about comedy?
I'd never seen stand-up live, and I got pretty when I was 25, I got pretty drunk one night, and I was at a comedy competition, and someone didn't show up, and because I had a bit to drink, I said, "Oh, can I take their spot?" And they said yes, and so I got up, did 5 minutes of just terrible stuff, but I loved it so much that I just kept doing it. So that was the first time I did comedy, and I just never stopped. And that was 12 years ago.
And that was the first time you became interested to do the comedy, stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I got bullied a lot at school, and so I used to use comedy as my defense mechanism. I figured if I could make people laugh, they wouldn't beat me up as much. And my parents used to argue a lot, so I used to try and make them laugh, because if they were laughing, they weren't arguing. So I'd sort of use comedy to sort of escape anything bad in my life, and I just kept doing it.
I was not expecting to hear that, but
if you put a laugh track underneath this, it won't sound as serious.
Right. So, and you're originally from Tasmania. We were talking about, yeah.
Yeah, from Tassie, yeah.
Okay, okay. So, you are one of the most successful comedians in Australia and have won many awards as the best writer, actor, and also you've been nominated for many awards at various festivals. We have an external success, which is like these awards or these awards, and we have an internal satisfactions. And no one can see that. So, expect like ourselves. Tell me about the challenges you faced after winning the awards.
Where to put them, I guess, in the house, so they don't collect too much dust. You know, how to install new shelves so I can line them up. The hard thing is, I guess, is sometimes if I get nominated for something or if I win something, I don't feel worthy of it. I feel like an imposter. You know, it's hard to find, it's that thing about trying to appreciate that you've won something, that, you know, that you've achieved something, but also I get worried if I get too grateful, I'll lose my drive to be better, which is, I don't think it's a good way to go. I think you do need to appreciate as you go. But so I'm still learning how to accept compliments and how to accept any awards I get. I tend to just dismiss them or go, you know, because I don't want to get too involved in them because I'm worried if I lose them I'll get upset. So I try and pretend like I'm not going to get any awards, and if I get one, it's a bonus.
Luke, be serious. That's a serious conversation. Can you be at all?
Trying.
So, what I mean is, like, definitely when you win awards or something, people expect more. Am I right? To see
it opens up doors, I guess, that wouldn't have opened up before, which is nice. Or like it's a, you know, it's like having a reference from a job you used to have, like a good reference. But it hasn't made anything more difficult. It's, I guess in comedy awards are, they don't really matter too much when you're like pitching a TV show or something. It's nice to have them, but I haven't found they've influenced my life too much other than, it's fun to show my mum and dad a trophy because they can understand that. Whereas if I tell them like, oh, I got nominated for the Writers Guild or something, they just don't know. They don't know what that is. But if they see a logo, they're like, "Ooh, a logo, great!" Yeah. So it's yeah, but they don't have that much of an impact, I don't think.
Okay, fair enough. People have different views about comedians. And in many places, they don't really take them seriously because they think actually they're just performing themselves on stage. But those who work in this profession actually know this is not the case. So I would like to know, how do you interpret a comedian? What's the, yeah, you tell me.
You talk now. That's a great way to finish your question. You talk now. I mean, comedy is. I mean, it is. I think what's maybe what people don't realize about it is that it's a lot of work behind the scenes. So even though it's you know, you and I joking around now as we talk, you know, you've done a lot of work behind the scenes to get this up and running, and for someone to get up on stage and tell 5 minutes of stand-up that sort of sounds like a breezy, fun joke takes ages. You know, sometimes you can be honing that for 8 months before you're ready to really sort of say it on TV or something. So it's I always dislike that quote. If you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. I find if you find what you love, you'll actually work more. You just won't hate it as much. But it's just like anything, I guess. It's there's a lot of, like with comedy, you sort of, you know, you see the painting, but you know, the artist has spent a lot of time doing it, even though it seems like it's sort of effortless, and it's you know, most jokes you've been telling them a long time, and you've had to bomb a bunch of times for them to get to where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, you talk now.
I'm still, yeah, I'm listening. Go on. I'm enjoying.
Sorry. Yeah, so I don't know. I think, and it depends on where the comedy comes from. You know, I don't know how you interpret a comedian. Really, it's just some people it comes from sort of more of a painful spot. Sometimes it comes from joy, and sometimes it comes from both. But I just like comedy because I feel good when I'm laughing and making other people laugh. So it's just always been a part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you, because you're an actor and writer, so do you always have scripts and you know what exactly you're going to play on stage, or not? Is a combination of like, let's just give it a go, or do you always know what you're going to do on stage? Or,
yeah.
you know,
by the time you get to like a comedy festival, like you've got an hour and you know exactly what it is. But if the audience does something that throws it out,
mm-hmm.
then you can kind of roll with that. Sometimes the audience will do something, but you've seen it before, so you can use whatever joke you used on the audience last time for the same sort of, you know, heckle or something. But you usually know at least you usually know what you're going to say, and if you don't, you at least normally know the start of what you're going to say and the end of what you're going to say, and then maybe you play around in the middle a bit. But yeah, they usually. I mean, when I go on stage anyway, it's usually all sort of written out. I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And well, you've experienced performing as a comedian outside of Australia also, and each country has its own culture, slangs and jokes. So I think this can be very risky and challenging actually for many comedians, because the audience may not really relate to them, to the actor or to the comedian. So tell me about the challenges you have had or probably had in this regard. I'm interested to know.
The hardest thing I ever experienced was when I did a tour of Asia, and I went to Singapore.
Uh-huh.
And they have certain rules around alternate lifestyles if you're gay. And we had a comedian with us who was gay, and most of his material was about being gay. And so that was difficult, where we had like a government liaison who would sort of tell us, you know, don't make fun of the government, don't talk about an alternate lifestyle and that sort of thing. And then we did anyway, just because we didn't really know any other way to be. So it was very strange going from a country where you have complete freedom to say whatever you want to a country where it's sort of monitored and you have to be a little more careful. So that was hard. And it took a lot of the fun out for me, because I felt like I was being funny within a bubble. I feel like I was... I had to be careful what I was saying, whereas in Australia, I don't have to be careful what I'm saying, which is so it was strange. It was a strange feeling. I love visiting there and I love performing there, but I did find that aspect a bit hard to swallow.
What you're talking about is about the censorship. So
yeah.
There are criteria that you cannot even get close. That's very interesting. So, what about in Australia? Like, have you ever experienced censorship in what you're doing? Like, but where I came from, where I was born, Iran, so we were born with censorship. So it's not, we're all familiar with that.
Yeah.
But in Australia, we know, well, we've got a freedom of speech and etc. etc. But have you ever, like, anybody like just warned you, well, look, you cannot really make a joke of that senator, for example, or the prime minister, or this or that, or no, it's not something that's really people care about?
No, not in Australia. I've never had it happen. I mean, the most people will say to you sometimes is, "I try not to swear," but that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can say whatever you want. I've never ever had anything I've wanted to say on television censored. It's just yeah. I'm sure it's happened, but it hasn't happened to me. It's there would be more uproar, I think, about something being censored than there would be about the censorship itself. I think if something was censored and that got out, that would cause a huge uproar, and no one would want to be associated with that, because it's sort of, you know, I think in Australia, sort of censorship happens in other ways. Like, in the way, say, a commercial media organisation doesn't report on something but does report on another, or lets someone voice their opinion but not someone else on the show. I think so. I think it happens more subtly, and I think it sort of happens in connection with you know, sponsorship deals they have and commercial relationships they have, where it's you know, it's not so much about censorship, but more about sort of what voices you raise and what voices you don't.
That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. So, people send me lots of questions. People come and go, and lots of questions. So let me finish my questions first, and then I will check it out. So, as a filmmaker, actor, and writer, I cannot. This is something that we were talking about yesterday on the phone, not in front of the camera. Anyways, as a filmmaker, actor, and writer, I cannot relate at all to Australian films. Perhaps because I feel that the industry is not taken very seriously, and this can be seen in films and whatever been produced over the years. It seems that no one is trying to take the film industry seriously, and that's why, like, most of artists are migrating from Australia to another countries. Like, they go to Hollywood, they move to London, they go, you know, and live outside of the Australia. My feeling is that the film industry in Australia is far behind other countries. What do you think about this? Especially you're working in this industry as an actor, apart from being a comedian, as an actor and also a writer. What is your opinion and how we can make it better?
Yeah, I wonder myself. I haven't really dabbled in film at all, really, since I started. I've always sort of focused on TV. But I think in Australia, I mean, we have incredible movies like the Babadook is one of my favourite horror films of all time. But I do think Australia is, I mean, partly because of the size and the reach. Like, it's just a bit harder for us. And America is so, to a certain extent, you know, any country that speaks English predominantly is always going to be a bit overshadowed by America because their industry is so huge. You know, you don't, it's harder if you're making an Australian movie, I guess, just to sort of have that reach. But I do think, I think our industry's, you know, produced amazing movies. It's just that thing of, you know, how to get them out there and how to make them, how to raise awareness. Like, if they go to the States, like, how do you compete with you know, all the tentpole movies that are happening? I don't know the answer. I haven't been involved in film enough to know, to be honest, but I'd love to one day. But yeah, it is rare for an Australian film to cross-pollinate across different markets. I mean, the most successful is still Crocodile Dundee, and that was made years ago, so we still haven't topped that. But it does show that it's possible.
Because this country is amazing. It's an amazing country. I was living in Australia, and then I moved to America. I was living in Los Angeles. Well, in America, particularly in West Hollywood, where I was living, actually the competition is extremely high. And like, each cafe I used to go, all employees were like writer, director, the producer, actor, and well, they were living there for like 10 years. They couldn't get anywhere. Of course, I couldn't get anywhere with my accent. So the competition.
I couldn't hear your accent. I thought you were.
And then I returned to Australia. I was living in Sydney, and then I moved to Melbourne. So I started like trying really hard to be in contact with artists here in Australia, in Melbourne. But it's like you have to really make really effort, you know, all the time. And I'm really missing, because Australia is a wonderful country with amazing locations. And filmmakers, I don't know, they don't use it much, from here. And that's why I was wondering that what's going on. And we don't watch much, good films nowadays in Australia.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Australia's getting films made. We are making films, and we're making good films. I think it's just, for us, or at least any person out there watching who wants to make a movie is, don't worry too much about the industry. Just try and focus it all on your idea, and then, obviously there's going to be roadblocks, but I know you can't. It's sort of outside of our control. All we can do is kind of make the best film we can. So I certainly wouldn't let anyone who thinks the industry is not where it should be or could be to discourage them from trying to make something.
Okay. You don't, all right. No, I'm scared. All right. Perfect. No, I want to change the atmosphere. Let's do something. I want to ask you, please, to give us a tour. Show us around what you've got there around you. So there is an option. You can reverse the camera and take us with you and show us whatever you like.
You got it. So I'm in my bedroom right now. So that is, I really love virtual reality. So I just bought myself a helmet so I could escape this pandemic. I am really into video games. So they're my Nintendo Amiibos. I love Transformers. So there is my Optimus Prime. And if you, I'm just going to go over here quickly. If you go to if you want to know how many Transformers I bought, all those boxes are Transformers. They're just I've just got Transformers. I'm also a massive Ghostbusters fan. So I have Monopoly, and I have a Ghostbusters. I have a Ghostbusters trap. Turns on in case I need to catch ghosts. I watch a lot of horror movies, so that helps me sleep at night, knowing that I've got that. And I've also got a full Ghostbusters uniform because I'm obsessed with Ghostbusters. So that is I've got a full Ghostbusters outfit. I got the flight suit, and I'm really into video games. So I've got dust covers, but that's a Nintendo Switch, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, Atari, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and a PC. I'm an introvert who has just nothing but hobbies on the inside. All my hobbies are inside, so I'm sort of perfectly placed to deal with this horrible pandemic. No, you're right. Sorry, I thought I lost you. Huh?
Okay. All right. So what you've been doing? Because Melbourne is the only city in the whole planet actually it's got the longest pandemic or quarantine ever. What were you doing? How you spend your time actually?
I've been writing, so I've got a show called Rosehaven, and I've been writing with my friend Celia season 5 of that. So that's sort of kept me busy. I bought a ukulele. I bought this ukulele so I could learn an instrument. I won't torture you with that, but it's and just I don't know. When this first happened, I was like saying, okay, great. I'm gonna write a movie. I'm gonna learn Japanese. I'm gonna do all this stuff. And then the longer it went on, the more sad I got, and I just stopped doing. Like I ended up saying, okay, just wake up eventually, eat healthy, and go for walks, and that's all you have to do. Everything else is a bonus, because I was finding mentally it was hard to sort of keep myself motivated to do all these different things. As it's got, we're about a week out before we get some restrictions lifted. But I started off sprinting with just all this self-improvement stuff, and then gradually I'm just like, all right, we'll just try and eat a salad every now and then, and that's it. That's all. That's enough.
Okay, so fair enough. Look, you are the co-creator and co-writer and star of smash hit uh, sitcom Rosehaven with Celia, am I right?
Yeah, see you later.
Celia, yeah, for ABC TV, for which you won actually most popular actor at the 2019 TV Week Lobby Awards. And talk to me about that project. And people actually send me questions regarding of that because you said that we're going to show it actually on 2020 and we're going to continue doing it. So, what's going on with that project?
Yeah, so I co-wrote it with Celia Piccola. It's filmed in Tasmania, and we're up to season 5 now, and we're hoping to start filming the new season in January if all goes to plan. But it's not confirmed yet, so it could still all fall away. Also, Tassie doesn't currently let Melbourne people visit, so that's going to make it hard to get in. But the plan is to start filming it next year and have another season by sometime in 2021 or 2022. And then that will be probably the last season, but we're not sure. And then I'll have to work out what to do with the rest of my life, which I have no idea. But yeah, it's been great. It was always a dream to get a TV show up, and it's a lot of work, but we've loved it. I've still got quite a few uncles and aunties who've never seen it, and they tell me that at Christmas. So I haven't seen it, and haven't had time. I'm like, all right, it's fine. It's only 8 apps, mate. Yeah, we're really happy with it.
Okay, great. So I have no more question for you.
Yes. I'm done. I passed.
So, is there anything else that you want to say, and probably I didn't ask you, and you want to mention, or?
Yes. Do you play video games? And you're from Iran originally, right?
Iran.
Yeah.
Yes.
What were your hobbies when you were living over there?
Cycling, and I used to go to play football, and I used to be a professional ski player.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was doing. I started actually doing ski at the age of 5,
Yeah,
and
like
then
skiing or ski?
skiing on snow.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Yeah, and that was my idea when I was coming to Australia. Because we didn't know that actually the seasons are different here in Australia. I had no clue.
You have to learn how to ski on sand, I guess.
And it was winter in Iran when I was flying actually to Australia. Yeah. And as soon as they opened the door, like it was extremely humid, and I was confused for a few days that I didn't know where I arrived. And then eventually I found out, well, it's not going to be skiing. And skiing here in Melbourne is quite expensive. Like, I can't afford it to go all the time, really.
Yeah, is it Mount I can't remember what it's called. Tala, I can't remember. But yeah, I can't remember the mountain's called. But there's only one place I know you can ski in Melbourne.
Yeah, I used to play that. I break this arm 3 times, 2 times, this leg 3 times.
Wow.
This leg once. So if you like shove me on the chest, that'll do.
That's good to know.
Collapsed.
Yeah, right.
And then I started filmmaking at the age of 13. So they're all on YouTube. So I'm in, and yeah, as soon as I started to know about myself, so I knew that I was always in love with filmmaking, writing, acting, editing, photography, and that's. But I had to move out of Iran because I think everyone knows because
if you don't, just Google it. There should be some news there. Yeah.
No, I had to leave Iran because I was banned to continue filmmaking in Iran, and
Yeah, that makes it difficult. I imagine to.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's hard when a whole country says you can't do the thing you want to do, or I know what I want to do for a living, and it's weird. Like it's I mean, we're almost sort of used to some countries banning certain artistic pursuits, but it feels to me as crazy as someone going, no one's allowed to roller skate anymore. You just can't do it. No, not allowed.
It's crazy. It is crazy, and that's why I was telling you about censorship. Because when I was at the age of 17, I've told you, I made my first feature film, and sooner we finished filming, actually, I was arrested through the authorities because Iranian government didn't like the concept or the subject of the movie I made. And at the age of 17, you have no clue. And then I was jailed. I was arrested. They put me in the jail for 6 months. And then I've told you that I got him like a lashes, 238 lashes on my body. And I didn't know why I was torturing for. Because I was a filmmaker. Anyways.
Yeah.
It's not,
that's just showbiz. Yeah, that's crazy. That's just, it's well, good to have you here, and I hope the industry here treats you much better. And if anyone lashes you here, please tell me, and I'll do what I can to get them fired.
I'm so happy I'm in Australia. I had no clue when I was moving to Australia. Because back in those years, people wanted to go to live in Europe, to America. Australia was not that much popular, and over the past decade, actually, this country became extremely popular, and everyone wants to come to Australia now. And as I said, well, I moved to America, and then I thought, no, I love to go back to Australia. And I love this country. I never had a problem in Australia. Never. It's very easy-oriented family. Artistic country, we will talk in private. But I love Australia.
America's definitely. I mean, as far as just like supporting yourself financially, America's just such a bigger fish than us. It's a. I mean, I know because I've got friends over there who are doing the same work I'm doing, and the difference in pay is just crazy. But they're so much bigger, I guess, and it's and they've got so much more reach. But I do love it here, and I don't have any intention of moving anytime soon. And also, I can't move, so that's good.
And the competition is not as high and thick as in the other countries probably. And then if you're really talented and if you get enough support here in Australia, you could become somebody one day, And and that was the main reason actually I moved back to Australia. I'm living here, and I'm doing my show. I love it. I have had amazing people on my show. One of them is you. I love talking to you. And I had, Australians on my show, and that's what I love because I learn and,
Who's been your worst guest so far?
Yeah. How did you know that?
It can't be me. It could be someone else.
No, actually, I really, really enjoy it. And you're my neighbor. I didn't know that. Anyways.
Yeah. Huh?
We have to catch up after sometime soon.
Let's get a coffee when we're allowed to go to cafes again.
2 years later, we're still
2 years
talking.
later, It's wearing astronaut suits.
And one case was funded here.
Oh man, fingers crossed. One case would be amazing. Huh?
That's crazy. Do you have more questions?
No, I don't. But yeah, let's definitely catch up when this all sort of calms down. Huh?
I love to, sure. Luke, your face goes very serious all of a sudden. I don't know if you want to say something or should I stop?
No, that's just my default. I've got a very serious default face. I don't know where it came from, but it's my default face is quite. Yeah, I'll work on it. But
That's you. That's you. It's unique. It's you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Luke, thank you so very much. It was an amazing conversation with you, and I hope you liked it.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. All the best for the future. I'll talk to you later.
All right, you take care. I'll catch you soon.
Thanks, Borna. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.